Hi, I want to thank all the people out there who belong to the Mature Musicians group that are tuned in today. And I have a very important guest. Raymond Hayden is with us, and he's going to give us some background on where he's come from, what happened during COVID, and where he's going in the future with his music. All right, Raymond, thank you for coming today, and I'm glad to have you here on my show.
My pleasure,
So,
Joy.
thank you. So one of the first questions I'd like to ask you, I've known you for a little while now, and I've had you do some backup um, piano music for me, and I really don't know that much about your background. So is there anything that you can tell us about where you've come from before we go to where you are and where you're going to be in the future? All
Yeah,
right.
no problem, Joy. And yeah, thank you for having me on here. I enjoy it. Mature musicians. I don't know if I'm mature, but anyway, no, I love it. Any opportunity to kind of you share your story with people is great, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible. But yeah, because I have a podcast and I ask people the same questions. But
All right.
so where I came from, everything that we do, um, people see it now, but we all have our stories and where we've come from, and bit,
Exactly.
every bit of what we do. Excuse me, I'm getting adjusted here. Every bit of what we've done and where we come from helps create who we are now or who we aren't.
Exactly.
And yeah, so for me, basically, it's really simple. I mean, starting up, my mom uh, still is a piano player and a singer.
I
She
didn't
met my
know
dad.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yep. She
wonderful.
does a lot in the
That's how you
churches.
get it. It's in your genes.
It's in the genes, yes. Not just the Levi's either, Joy. But my
Okay.
dad also was played flute.
Oh,
Yes.
that was my first instrument.
Oh, well, there you go. See, like-minded people. So both of them are very musical. My mom met my dad she was she was doing singing jazz in San Francisco, and so that's where the music comes, is from my mom and my dad. But I grew up being a baseball player, and one day at band, the guy came in with a bunch of instruments, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I went tried the instruments, and I want to be a drummer. So I ended up joining what's called Drum and Bugle Corps, which is like professional marching band. And so from the age of 9, I've been on tour buses going around, the West Coast and Western Canada and the Midwest, et cetera. And, performing in a drum and bugle corps setting with a bunch of other musicians. And so it's the first time I ever really got a taste of collaboration, what it's like to work with other people and how you work as an artist with other people. And so that really got me off on the right foot. So I started out as a drummer, and then I ended up switching to trumpet, soprano, French horn, all that, brass instruments. And learning different instruments provided an avenue for me to understand that artists may be the same. We all are musicians. We play instruments, we sing, whatever it is, but everybody's instrument requires something different. It's either in a different key, or the way you approach instruments different. So I learned not only the collaboration, but something about that as well, is that you have to understand that where other people are coming from as well, and then work together. So it's kind of the big take out of that was communication, which is so important to being an artist, because you have to communicate not only with the crowd, but with the band that you're in and the other artists that you're working with. So was in drum and bugle corps for about 7 years, and then of course at high school I was in jazz band and pep band and marching band and symphonic band, and I got chosen to be a part of not the youth symphony, but the honor band, which is basically musicians who stood out to their band directors. Graduating high school, the Marines tried to get me in as a French horn player in the Marine band, and I didn't want to play all the time and play. I didn't want to do that. So joined the Army, and when I went over I got stationed in Europe, and I just happened to meet this gal who we hit it off really well, and we're still friends to this day. And I was telling her about being a musician. She introduced me to a friend of hers, a guy named James Rocket Rose. He just happened to walk in at the time. him and I went over and we got along really well. Started jamming. Me on trumpet, him on guitar. And I'm playing Maynard Ferguson type of stuff, and Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke, da 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 da. That kind of stuff. Didn't work very well. So as we were leaving the music center, I saw a Polaroid picture of somebody selling a keyboard. And I looked at James and I laughed and I said, I should go buy that keyboard. And tomorrow we should start a rock band and we'll tour all over. We'll get the chicks and the drinks and the partying and everything. And we laughed about it. That night we went out and had some drinks. The next morning I woke up and actually went and did that. Went and got a loan, got the keyboard, found out who I could get lessons from. I bought 4 lessons. I only got 3 from him because my mentor, I have 2 mentors, Mike Hein in Germany and Brooke Lazat in Seattle now. And so he taught me a lot of things about keyboard, and I just took it from there on my own and started, teaching myself more and more. Got together, that guy James I was talking about earlier, him and I started a band called Ambition, and I was playing in a band before I'd been playing keyboard 6 months and working my ass off to learn songs, by Kansas and Boston and Elton John and Bon Jovi and Starship and Toto, you name it. So that was kind of my foray into the music business.
Raymond, hold on a minute.
Oh.
This thing, my internet connection went down, so I don't know. I think everybody else probably heard what you had to say, but I didn't, so I have no idea what you just said. Could you recap it for me real quick?
Yeah, sure. I can recap it for you real quick.
I love the streaming.
No problem. Well, and I think we're still good because it still says live. It never went off, so it's possible. But the recap, I just said, I grew up on tour buses at 9, started out on drums, moved over to brass instruments. And then when I went in the Army, as an 8. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay,
we
good.
got people saying hello to us. One person is working and listening, and another one said there was no interruption for them. It was just me. And and hi to us. So I just thought,
hi. Yeah, no problem. You gotta love the internet. Speaking of that, because I'm working right now, so I took my lunch to do this podcast with you today.
Yes, so, I know. Thank you.
This is fantastic. But so the recap real quick so I don't drive the people watching crazy. I started out on a tour bus at 9, started out in drums, went to brass instruments, played in every band you can think of in high school, jazz band, pep band, honor band, concert band, marching band. At 18, went in the military and met basically through circumstances or happenstances, met a gal who introduced me to a guy and ended up buying a keyboard and took some lessons, started learn. Was in my first band 6 months in, and probably playing 4 or 5, 6 hours a day, learning scales and arpeggios and what the knob meant on the keyboard, and then learning about the infrastructure of the industry, who played guitar in what band and what keyboard players that I should know and whatever. And we did a lot of shows. Mini tours, if you will, all over Europe. And then that band, all of us were in the military at the time and decided to get out and stayed over there as a band. Cool. And then kind of got ahead of ourselves and decided to got a little homesick. So we were going to go back. We were like, we're doing so well over here. We'll do fine over in the U.S.
Oh, no.
A lot more bands in the U.S. than there were in Germany.
Yes.
So that band went to Germany, or went from Germany to Alabama. And we started we started practicing, had to change our setup a little bit, and did a lot of shows throughout the East Coast. That band eventually, because of addictions, drugs, alcohol, women, you name it, imploding, I ended up coming back home and to Tacoma and moving in with my grandmother, who I basically was helping take care of her.
Yeah.
While I was going.
Great lady.
Yeah, she was a great lady, Martha, and sassy and I ended up having, I'm not, obviously we're not going to cover every band that I was ever in, but the band at that time, we rehearsed in her garage, and she would, on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and she would make us food. And so it was always been, anything I've ever been involved with has been very family oriented.
Right. That's interesting. I enjoyed that. hearing that. I thank you for repeating it. And I thank you the people out in the audience listening to this. I thank them for being patient with me. But Chris Jones is online and he's listening and he wants to say hi to you. And he says he will know what I'm talking about. Tell him Chris Jones is listening. So.
Oh yeah, nice. It's my boy CJ. Him and I are. If you haven't ever heard of him, the Chris Jones Band are fantastic.
Yes. I haven't seen him yet, but I'm hoping. I haven't been able to get out and about, but I'm hoping by fall I'll be making these journeys.
Well, you Joy, are an artist, and you are up and coming, and you're always too hard on yourself. Hey, you if you, like my coach says, I have a life coach. If you focus on yourself and making sure that you're good, mentally, emotionally healthy, then it'll all happen at the right time, and it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. So don't be so hard on yourself. You'll get out there. When you see Chris Jones, he'll melt your face like he does ours. And
all right.
But
so, I've got a lot of people waiting for me to go to their concerts or whatever, and so far haven't been able to make it. But I just bought a new car, so maybe that will help.
There you go. You'll get out there. I mean, and the world is still crazy right now.
So to recap, you basically had a garage band, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a garage band, and we worked really hard, and we started doing a lot of shows in Seattle in the early 90s, and it was a 7-piece band, 8-piece band, wow. Ultimately, with a horn section. I wrote all the music, and we did some Elton John and Chicago covers as well. But we couldn't figure out why we couldn't draw a big audience, because we were a solid band, right. And we'd be playing at a place called Doc Maynard's, and gig would get done, and we'd go over and we'd walk down the street, and you'd see the other clubs like the Color Box or the Central or the J&M Cafe with lines out the door. Well, what we didn't know at the time.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what year was that? What are we talking about as far as when that was?
Early 90s.
90s.
The very beginning of grunge.
Yeah. Okay.
So the reason those other clubs were packed with lines around the doors because there was bands like Paisley Sin and Mother Love Bone, Alice in Chains, Nirvana. Those bands were playing. And so, it was, we're in it, right? The rest of the world ultimately saw that there was a grunge scene, but we were playing the style of music that I was writing at the time was very Chicago, and horn band stuff. And so, we weren't the in thing, but we still had a lot of fun. And fast forwarding throughout the years, I've been in a bunch of other bands, and toured, went back to Europe numerous times, but different bands. I've got probably 8 albums on Amazon and iTunes, and I've got a podcast called Houston. Had another podcast called The Aquarium. Had a record label for 10 years called Maurice Fish Records, and which we ultimately had.
I saw that. I was wondering about Fish Records.
Yeah, that's I disbanded it because it was too much to handle. Just in the time had come to put more focus on what it is that I do as an artist. And so, I mean, that's just I just kind of threw up on the screen with all that stuff, but spent a lifetime basically just going, producing music, writing songs, putting it out. And I go back and listen to some of that stuff now, and I'll just shake my head and I'm like, what was I thinking?
What were you thinking? Yeah.
And it turns out, Joy, and I'm sure the people who are listening now, Chris Jones and whoever else is out there,
this darn thing doesn't give me a name. It just says Facebook user. And let's say my group identifies themselves, so people listening identify. I don't know who you are, so you may want to put your name in your comments.
Yeah, do put your name up so we can say hi and promote your band. I mean, it's where you are now. 2 years from now, you'll look back and you'll listen to something, and although it's just perfectly fine and beautiful, you'll shake your head. I've heard major artists talk that way. I mean, it's you do the best with what you have at the time you do it, and that's just part. It's like albums. I have 8 albums, but I've played on numerous albums, including yours. Thank you very much. It's beautiful. And so there's numerous stuff out there, and you just get better. And every time you do something, you get better and better. And you can never, ever look back and go, "Oh, that was horrible." No, it was the best. It's a
At the
snap.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Think about it this way: it was a chapter in your life.
Courtney, I can tell you, just for a moment. Hi, Georgia. My granddaughter's watching, and her
Oh,
mom,
hi, Georgia.
you know, they're going back to Oregon. And Courtney has been helping me with my website too, the little things that take some pressure off. And she says hello. And what I would like to know from you is whether, all this older stuff. Now I've got, I've been digging around and I got your bio and I got some of the songs that you wrote, but I'm especially, I like the piano music. Grieve the Astronauts. So how can our listeners find some of this music? And can you post some of the things that you've done and we've talked about today on the Mature Musicians Group website?
Sure. Absolutely. When the interview is done, I will be happy to do that for sure.
And things coming up. I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but the things that are coming up are really important because when I was there, I found as much and listened to as much as I could, but there's only so many hours in a day. And if you don't know where to look, you can put your name in there, but it doesn't give as much as I would like it to. So.
Oh, of course. Well, and the thing is, you'll get there. I mean, because the more excited you get about doing this, it just drives you, right? Your fire starts getting hotter, and you can't you can't shake. And it's being an artist is such a tortured experience, but it's such a beautiful experience. I mean, we're given gifts, and we have to look at that way to resonate with the universe and people and we know more than anybody else does that the only thing that really matters is love. And sometimes the songs don't, maybe the narrative doesn't reflect that, but that's where it comes from and resonating. But yeah, the best place for people to go is to my website, which is just RaymondHayden.net. That's Raymond.
.net. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The long story, but I had .com a long time ago. And I switched. I had my credit card stolen, and so I switched credit cards. And so the automatic the payment for that domain name didn't go through. And the day after it went out through, they ended up selling it to somebody else who wanted to sell me the domain name for like $10,000. So it's like, yep. So we just typed in, we just changed it to RaymondHayden.net. And that's the best place because that doesn't have everything that I've ever done, but it has the main things. It has the podcast and pictures and videos and new releases and all my music and the main groups I play with, which are Grieve the Astronaut, which you talked about earlier, and Strangely All Right. So yeah, that's the best place. I mean, I'm on the, on Instagram and TikTok and.
I see all those. Yeah. I don't always comment, but I do watch. I follow all of that stuff. So yeah.
You're an amazing supporter.
So yes, I do try to do some of my research and background research, but I didn't know about the .net, so that I just put in the search in YouTube, Raymond Hayden, and it didn't give me as much as I would like. But now we know it's Raymond Hayden.net.
Right. It's the most focused. It's the most focused place because when Jessica, because my wife is Jessica Lynn Witty, as you know,
yes,
she's also a graphic web designer and doesn't have a whole lot of time to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I basically see where her little windows are, and I'm like, Jessica, can you do this? And she's taught me how to do some of the back. But it's a very focused place because you could go all over the place, and I have stuff on YouTube with the band and all this, but the website, it's very articulate, direct. If you want to find out more about me, it's got an about section, but lots of photos, lots of videos, and I stay on top of it to put new stuff and kind of behind the scenes stuff. But,
all right, listeners, I hope you got that, and I think that it'll be worth your while to hear some of his music. That is not necessarily today, but speaking about today, moving towards what you're doing now. We've had a little bit of a conversation you and Jessica invited me to her happy hour, which happens on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. For the five, usually around 5 to 6. And one of the things that in the process of meeting the two of you, I learned that you like everybody else who does live music, we're having some issues trying to adjust to uh, no gigs and streaming and this whole COVID thing. So could you give us some information about how you survived and what kinds of things you did? What you, not
Sure.
just but your wife as well. I mean, she's part of it too. So, how in the world did you get through it?
Well, we drank a lot of whiskey, Joy.
That's why you had the bar there. You know, honky tonk.
Yeah, no, I just got to say that, and I'm going to answer the question, I promise, and I don't want to get too schmoopy, but you're really bringing a smile to my face. It is, we talk about collaboration. To have another artist who actually loves and cares about you to actually take their time to put together something like this and give me a platform to talk about myself and the community and whatever is great. So thanks again. So COVID, the very beginning of this thing, Jess and I basically, we looked at each other, and not that we're fortune tellers, but we had a weird feeling that this was not going to be something that was going to be short lived. We knew, we just had an innate understanding that it was going to go on for a while. So we said, okay, hey, two things that people always ask for more of is money and time. The money you have to work for. So we were like, we have time. Let's just buckle down and support each other and keep the machine going and write. And so, Jessica wrote 19 or 20 songs. I wrote a piano EP that's called Ghosts of the Delirium that I ended up having a world-renowned bass player, Osama Afifi, play on. He just happens to be a Tacoma guy. He's toured with all kinds of guys, but the guy that most people would know was Yanni. He played bass with Yanni for a while. So I wrote that EP, and I didn't just sit down and write it. I was inspired, and every song on the album was written on how I was feeling because of the COVID, because of the shutdown, because how I was seeing my fellow musicians from all over the world have their life obliterated. Their means to make an income with their art and everything, and connection is a big thing with people, not just
absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's how and then I also took my band Grieve the Astronaut out of hiatus because I wrote an entire album for that band called Signs, which we've
I have a question about that, if you don't mind me interrupting you for
a moment. Please do.
You can find your place back to where we were talking, but
sure.
I saw more than one entry into the Signs information, like on YouTube, that actually listening to it and you posting when the new music was coming out. And it looks to me like this is a long there's a bunch of songs put in there to make a whole. Can you explain all that? I mean, I'm a little confused as how that works.
For the new album?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. So back in the day, and bands still do this to this day, but it's something that was done more back in the day. They release albums out of time. And because of the internet and because of the change of the music industry with MP3s and Spotify and back in the day Napster and MySpace and all that, people are doing more releasing of singles. So the album I wrote, Signs, it's a concept. It's a concept album. And so I'm releasing a song at a time that tells the story of Signs. And when all the songs have been released, then I will release it as a full album. But the concept behind Signs is we all go through things on a daily basis, and there's so much stuff in the news about the diversity and divisiveness and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, black, white, male, female, gay, heterosexual, transgender, religions, all that stuff makes us different, and they're beautiful differences. And people say, well, I ignore this. I just, no, don't ignore it. Exemplify it, lift it up, all the differences. That's fantastic. But the thing that the one thing we all have in common what this album is about is we just want to be happy.
Exactly.
I mean, we just want to be happy. We want to be loved, and
Encouraged.
encouraged. Exactly. And we fail to see the signs. We'll see signs every day. There'll be things all day long that will direct us where we should be doing, who we should be hanging out with, who we shouldn't be hanging out with. Not that they're bad people, but maybe they're in a place in their life that is really different than yours, whatever. And we tend to look at those and brush them off as coincidences or just, the voices in our head. Well, it's a skill to really listen to those. And the skill comes from starting with just loving ourselves. People talk about love always wins and, love, 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 love. And that's great. And I'm not talking about being narcissistic or selfish or self-absorbed. I'm just saying, if you love yourself, you love the way you look different than somebody else. You're older, you're younger, you have gray, you have brown, whatever. You love that you have a skill of music or your art or whatever it is, or you love that you're really good with numbers, whatever it is.
Exactly.
That's the thing we all have in common. So signs is basically illuminating that to recognize those signs and love yourself, because the better we are with ourselves, we're going to be better for everybody else around us.
Exactly.
And that's what that album's about. And when you ask how we dealt with COVID, we wrote songs and we supported each other and we went on live streams. You and I were on many, many live streams together, chatting all the time. We donated money when we could, where we could.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a scholarship program as well? I know Jessica does for people up and coming, but I'm not quite sure where you're at on those kinds of things. Are you with a particular band right now that you're playing with, or is that band kind of like Jessica as far as setting up scholarships and so forth, or is this a whole different thing?
It's a whole different thing. So Jessica, what you're alluding to, she has a scholarship. She has a program called, a foundation called Diamond in the Dust.
Yes, that's it.
It's for women who are 17 years old or who identify as women, 17-year-olds who have a passion. But she also, and that scholarship always starts in October and then is announced like on January 1st.
Okay.
And there's a couple different monetary awards that are given for that. And she also gives back certain songs of hers, like "Let It Burn." She gives back portions of that music to different organizations. And Beer Run, who came out now that's charting, which is not about beer, it's about domestic abuse.
Yes.
So I don't do it that way. That's actually a really good idea. I'm more low-level philanthropic, which means we have our money that comes in. We budget for what goes to our expenses and our vacations, our Edward Jones, our retirement, as much as we can. And then the only real philanthropy that I am involved in is I always have and did during COVID and still do, and that is I try to donate to and buy musicians merch and whatever.
Yeah.
And, they don't have diseases, they don't have cancer, they don't have leukemia, whatever. Right. But it's something I believe in, and so I don't have anything set up officially, but I definitely on a consistent basis donate.
I knew there was something because you said that you did make the donations, and I wanted to pull that out of you because I figured there was something there. Yeah. I also know that you used to. It was run by the one of the music stores out of Tacoma, where you were helping to promote new artists coming up. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, that is. For those of you, there's all over the world. There's people know it as rock camp or whatever. But what you're bringing up is a local music store called Ted Brown Music has a program that runs for 2 months during the summer. It's called the Live It Out Loud program, and basically what that program is, the program for youth. I think 12 to 18. Any instrument, vocalists. flute, whatever you want to play. You sign up for this program, pay a very modest fee. It's nowhere near what the program costs, but to make it accessible for families from any financial background. And basically these kids come in and they audition, and then they get put in bands based on those auditions, and then each band gets a mentor. And so in this program, they're taught how to be in a band, how to write together, how to create set lists, stage plots, everything that has to do with being in a band or being an artist in the music industry. Teach them to do it. And I was a mentor for about 4 different years, and I also sat on board. I was the president on the board of directors.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us that, because I did see that, and I thought that was great.
Yep, it was fun.
That really, and you are a mentor, because you mentored me, obviously. And I had no idea that I could write a song, but because of your encouragement in mentoring, I took the leap and did it. I don't know if that's good or bad yet, but it's been good.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, Joy. We talked earlier, I know, before we got on screen in the green room, talking about what we do, and it's brave to put our stuff out there, and as artists, all artists, we compare ourselves to everything else is out there. Yeah. And you can't do that, because if Kurt Cobain had compared himself to Freddie Mercury of Queen, the world would have never had Nirvana.
Yeah, music.
If Tom Petty compared himself vocally to Andrea Bocelli, we'd never have a Tom Petty. Or vice versa. I mean, everyone's, your voice with your songs, my voice with my songs, as long as we're doing the best we can at that time with what it is, it's going to resonate with people. You don't need to, you don't sound like Adele, or you don't sound like Gretchen Wilson or whatever. Good. Right. Because they're already there.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need another one.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Going back to the COVID thing, I was wondering how this program in Tacoma managed. Did you have any part in it during COVID, or did they just kind of sort of slip through the cracks, or did he keep it going, or whatever happened to it?
Well, about a year before the COVID thing happened, mm-hmm. Jessica actually was the director of the program. So her and I, not only are we both artists, we're both involved in a lot of the same things and shared passion. It's beautiful. But the program, I also stopped. We both stopped being part of the program only because we just didn't have the time to dedicate, and it requires dedication due to it. But the program did continue.
Okay.
And that's that, Stephanie Howe, the owner, and Whitney of Ted Brown Music, believe in it so strongly, they continue going. It was done online, and they did with the new director, a local musician, Sky Warden. He did his best. So the only way I was involved is I watched some of the live streams and did stuff like that. But they had to do it all online, which was very, very difficult, because with artists, as you know, I mean, the connection between the artist and the audience is very important. But what's more important, going back to what I said earlier about loving yourself, and if you love yourself, everything around you will flourish. Well, it's the same thing with bands. The band can't connect with the audience if the band can't connect with each other. So they did it. It was very difficult.
Absolutely. A good point there. I definitely agree. I do have somebody who did not identify themselves, but he said, "Love you, Raymond Hayden."
Well, whoever you are out there, call me 867-5209.
Cool.
Thanks for the love. Thank you, love, and thanks for watching. Everyone out there who's watching, thank you for supporting what Joy is doing, because doing something like this is not simple either, right?
All right.
Yeah.
So,
hi.
I'm so sorry, Sable. What was that? I missed it. I talked with you.
No, it's okay. I just said hi. I love you to whoever that unknown person is.
Absolutely. Thanks for the comment. And finally, moving ahead to the things that you're doing now, I know a lot of musicians are going out there, and it just seems like is skyrocketing. I mean, I thought I could make it to a few places, and then all of a sudden the governor opened everything and everyone was everywhere. And I'm just, I like to clone myself so I can go out and hear all this. But I would like to know what bands or what music you're making now and how you're moving in the future, what kinds of things you might be doing. What records? I know I've been watching something that you've been doing with another artist, recording artist. She's a backup singer for Jessica's band. And Sir, I always say it wrong, but I think it's
everybody does. That's okay.
So, are you singing in a band with her? So anyway, I'm gonna let you take it, but I want to know what's going, how you're going in the future.
No, that's great. I mean, music's exciting to talk about, right? And so I get that. No, so I think I know what you're asking. I'll round back to that point. So what I'm involved with right now, my main project is my baby. It's a band called Grieve the Astronaut.
Yeah. Everybody out there, you've got that's the one where the signs are connected to that, right?
That's signs. Yep, exactly. And we just released a single called Madness recently.
Yes.
And so that band is I have two. I don't call them backing vocalists. I was, but now I call them additional vocalists.
Yeah.
Jessica Lynn Witty and Circa. And Circa, they're both Danish. Jessica's my wife. Circa's my little sister, one of my best friends.
Yes.
And so what you're referring to is Grieve the Astronaut. Is that Circa is one of the vocalists in that band as well. I do the lead vocals, and both those gals do some of the backing vocals and also some of the featured stuff. And Grieve the Astronaut just released a song about a month or so back called "Will I Ever Find Love," which was the special release. And that's
a beautiful song. I loved it.
Thank you. That was produced by Strangely Alright's lead singer, Regan Lane. But Circa sings that. You can definitely hear her vocal quality. And then Madness.
There too? Is she on there?
No, she's not on Will Ever Find Love. Will Ever Find Love is a song I've been doing for years in many different bands. And I had before the whole COVID thing happened, I asked Regan to produce it. And then the band came out of hiatus. So it was a special release, but by the band because Circa's in it and I'm in it. But Madness, it really features her in that you can really hear what an explosive, powerful, dynamic vocalist she is. And then we're working the next release. Oh, speaking of that, Madness, the music video is being edited right now, and it features Circa, and that'll be out soon. It's very risque. But in a very, very, very appropriate way. It basically outlined, because Madness, the first lyrics are, in the madness we crawl around, seeking what we can't find while all the world is blind. And the words we choose will change us. They'll open up our eyes, anticipate the anger, throw away the lies. And that basically is, we're always telling ourselves all of us, we're telling ourselves, well, I want to do this, but I can't do it because I work, I'm not good enough, whatever. And we're all in the same boat. And so it's like, why not just all throw it all away and to say, this is madness that we're all feeling this way. Let's just do it. And so the video is going to be her basically reflecting that. She'll start off as a very corporate looking woman with a skirt and blouse and her hair pulled back and glasses. And then when she actually sees herself in a reflection, then she strips all that away and becomes who she's supposed to be. And so it's powerful, but she's involved with that. And then we're doing a duet, which is part of the science show with Grieve the Astronauts, called "Put Aside Your Worry."
What was it? What is it called?
Put aside your worry.
Oh, put aside your worry.
Yeah, and it's just a duet between her and I and a piano.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
When's that coming out? When is that coming out in the future?
That'll be coming out in September.
Okay, great.
And I'll send you a rough copy of it ahead of time so you can get the idea. But that's happening, and some other songs we're working on. Then I've been doing some collaborations. Collaborated with you, playing some piano on your album. A guy named Dan Wingard in Seattle, a gal named Kara Stevens out of Austin, Texas, Elena Ray out of Nashville. I did a little bit of stuff for Jessica. Chris Jones Band, I was honored. They have a song that's going to be released soon called "The Way."
Oh, cool. That you're on. What are you doing on that?
Just keyboards, no vocals, just all keyboards, the piano, organ, synthesizer, stuff like that. And then matter of fact, I just did a couple songs with them at the Ording Rock Festival, and it was great. Great guy.
Yeah.
So
you did some stuff for Kira Michelle as well, right?
Yes, and I did. The only reason I didn't mention that is because I guess it was kind of a collaboration. So Kira has got, I played a couple live shows with her. We become friends in the process. And 4 of her songs, she stripped down and she asked me to listen to the band songs and arrange piano versions of 4 of her songs. And so went in the studio with her and recorded those. She didn't even have a guitar on, just me on piano, her on vocals. And then we shot some videos.
She's got an amazing voice too. So piano and vocals alone should just be amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? I mean, she's such a powerhouse and just got such a beautiful spirit. And the songs, I love them. She's like a local, like a Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, it was fun. And she loved what I did on piano. I love what she did on vocals. And when 2 artists get together who love what each other does, magic happens.
I did put a video on Mature Musicians Group that was a collaboration between you and Jessica and Lyle and Cirque, and I don't remember how many people there were on that collaboration. All of you doing it from a different place. I mean, you weren't all together. You did it by stream, correct?
Yeah. Nope. You're right. Thank you for putting that up. That was goes back to an earlier question you asked. What was I doing during COVID? And I one day I sat down to my keyboard and I wrote this little simple piano melody, and I just came up with this idea. I was like, man, the artists are suffering, people are suffering. We're gonna make it through this. We're gonna make it through it. And so I wrote this piano piece called "We Can Make It," and then and that's why I said I'll put this out on Facebook and see who jumps on board. And Jessica, we lived together, so I shared it with her and she loved it. So she wrote the first verse and she wrote the hook for the chorus, and then ended up having. So the vocalists are the first verse is Jessica Lynn Witty, and each one of these vocalists wrote their own lyrics. So Jessica wrote the first verse. Circa wrote the second verse. Michael Wansley, the Wands from Macklemore, I got $20 in my pocket.
Okay.
Him and I have been friends since the '90s. Played in bands side by side, and then Kit Bender, who's a well-known pianist around here and singer-songwriter himself, did the fourth verse. And then on guitar was George Varghese and Lyle Ronglian.
Yeah.
And then on bass was Jeff Eason. On additional keyboards was Anthony Cherokee, who plays with Girls Love Rockets and Limmerlost. And then also on saxophone, Paul Sawtelle. And basically what we did is it was written, arranged, all the parts were put together, produced, mastered, and debuted on the Gian Ursula show on Cairo in a week. And Sean Van Domelen from Strangely All Right, he engineered it and mixed it and mastered it for us. And so that's the song you're talking about. And it was basically letting our brothers and sisters out there know that we're going to make it.
That's tough. It was timely. It was just such a great song.
Oh,
I had something else on my mind tonight, and it's just gone.
It happens when you get excited and talking about
all this music, all this wonderful music. I do have a line here that says, "Tell Raymond it was JB who said I love you." I believe he didn't say that he was the one that said that, but he said, "And I'm not calling, LOL." Tell him it was JB, and I'm not calling, LOL.
Oh my gosh. So JB is my brother. JB is
Oh,
he's and when I say brother, be careful with the music. Well, I don't mean actual blood, but
oh,
damn close.
all right,
The
got
closest thing to it. We've been in. He's the drummer for Strangely All Right. He's
you.
also producing some stuff for the Chris Jones band right now. And back to that "Will I Ever Find Love" song. JB Jason Bear. JB stands for Jason Bear. Played the drums on that and did some producing and assistant engineering on that as well. And is just a fantastic musician, a wonderful, better human being, and has one of the best ears of any musician I know. So yeah, love you, JB.
All right. And I know I don't remember the name of the song. I remember that I really, really liked it, but then it kind of just sort of went away and I never heard any more about it. But it was a collaboration that you did with Jessica. Um,
Oh yeah, Surrender.
yeah, that's it. Surrender. Sorry.
Surrender. Yes. So, well, you're getting my memory bank. So yeah, that's the thing. There's so much stuff going on. It's hard to remember to bring everything up. But
Exactly.
that was something. That was the first time that we'd done stuff before. She'd asked me to play piano and some of her stuff, and like my and Calling Me Home and some of the other stuff. But um, uh, I'd written this song that was kind of super trampy, and Jessica and I collaborated on that, and we had a very, very talented keyboard player around here locally by the name of Lee Gregory, and he's in a band called Darby Picnic, and they've been releasing a lot of stuff recently. But he produced it and engineered it, and we also had he played so Lee did some additional keyboards on it, and engineered and produced it, mastered it. And then we had a guitar player out of Seattle, a guy named Bart Hyde, play the guitar on it. And
these people, boy, there's so many musicians in this area. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say about that? I kind of.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, it was our first true collaboration, and yeah, we had a ball doing it, and I love working with her. She's, back in the day, you've heard people say, "Oh, you should never be in a band with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever," and I would actually echo that because I've had it go the other way. But it just, if it feels right, a fair amount of people that do it successfully. Sunday and Mr. Gessel out of Seattle, well, actually now out of the Midwest, they do like 30s and 40s jazz, and they're touring, and their tour schedule's crazy. Jesse and Jared Fradine from Champagne Sunday. There's a fair amount of, or like the W Lovers with Fleur Wood and Wesley. There's a fair amount that do it, but it definitely requires a special understanding because you're so like-minded, it could really work for you or against you. And it comes back to the thing I learned, full circle to what you're questioning with me about how I got my music start and all that, was what I learned as a young kid. Not that I've been perfect at it, but is the power of communication.
Yeah.
No matter what that is, communication, is key. And so with her and I, we've developed a language that if one of us is, just needing to be heard or whatever, but she never questions why I've got the rehearsals or why I'm doing this or why I'm doing that. And it takes a lot. People who don't understand what it is to be an artist, because not only do you have to be open to what the world is sending you as far as resonating with things, right, you also have to work on your craft, and you have to be willing to collaborate. It's the key to any successes. Everyone who's had any amount of success in this world has had help. And then you have to be able to work together and communicate, and then and not want to kill each other when you're on the road together.
Well, I get that part.
Yeah.
Being married, I understand that.
Yeah. And that part of the key there is just recognizing, again, the science, right? Recognizing those things within each other that tell each other that, you need a break. Because it's okay. I mean, when we're driving in the Enterprise, which is what we call our tour vehicle, on the way back from Chelan, and we were both really tired, and we probably didn't talk for like an hour and a half, and it wasn't uncomfortable because it's like, hey, so don't make it so difficult, people. We all need our alone time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the last things I like to go into, and I know this is in the past, not in the future, But I noticed that I watch Ancient Aliens, and I love all these movies that come out like that, and Skinwalker Ranch, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
But there was a man, and I cannot think of his name. I see him all the time. I'm terrible with names, but I believe he made a comment on, was it Signs, or a specific song, and who was it? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I can. And
It's
you
more
know
than
what?
one, right? Two of
There
them.
was there was a couple. And as far as remembering names, I mean, I've got an advantage too. I've been a salesman for 27 years.
Aha.
And then you put that together with being in the music business. For as long as I have been, you tend to. I don't remember them every time, but if I see you a couple times, I'm gonna remember. But Jessica and I are both big fans of Ancient Aliens as well. And the guy you're talking to is David Childress.
Yes, that's it.
He's
That's
the guy that always. He's the guy. If you watch that show, it's almost comical sometimes. I mean, love them, but they always jump to conclusions. Like if something happened, like there's writings on a wall, and one of the writings looks like an alien. The thing he always says is, "You have to ask yourself." And so he basically did a little. I don't know him. I just reached out to him through the Cameo app and said, wanted him to do we were celebrating the release of Signs, and he did a little. That's on the website too. All that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do the people out there, do watch that. It is amazing. I think.
And the other guy, that one was it was fun, serious, just kind of a unique way to bring people's attention to our release. So David Childers from Ancient Aliens, and the other guy I just did release recently.
Okay.
What was I don't know what his actual name is, but he was Agent Smith on The Matrix. Yes, okay. And he was the actual guy. It was the actual actor. See, there's I'm not, I don't want to put any untruths out there. I'm not friends with these guys. I just utilize what's at my fingertips. And there's an app. There's a business called Cameo, and basically, it is filled full of artists and celebrities and business people and you name it, celebrities. And you go onto the site and you can hire these people, and depending on who they are and how big they are, the prices are different. But you can have them, do a video for a promo or for happy birthday to somebody or a wedding anniversary or whatever. And so
you did one for Jess, right? You did one for Jessica.
I did a couple. I did one I had the when she released one of her songs, I had the new lead singer for Journey, Arnell, congratulate her, and then he sang the chorus to Open Arms in the studio. And then I had the guy Tom Wilson, who plays Biff on Back to the Future.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, he did. He did a congratulations to her, and he did a long one, like 4 minutes. It was great, funny. For boots, these boots are made for walking. And then the most recent one is I had the comedian, the Love Master, Craig Shoemaker, do one for Jessica as well. And so, it's fun. It's just, we're not great friends with these people, but, just reach out to them through that app. And, it's fun. It's you get people laughing and smiling. And if it gets them to pay attention to what you're doing, then there's no rules.
I think that those kinds of things bring us all together because people that become, I don't want to say star, but people become names in the industry. They're just like everybody else. And it doesn't matter where you are, how much money you have, or how famous you might be thought, people think you are. We're still just all the same people. And
just want to be happy and make a living. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been very fortunate doing this you do anything long enough, you're going to meet people. And I've on my podcast, I've been able to interview some big names over the years and a lot of independent artists. And I remember they're just people. I remember interviewing a guy named Zane Carney, and he plays lead guitar for John Mayer, and met him through a friend of mine. And when we were interviewing him, he was on the back of his tour bus, and he was playing video games. And he said, I can only give you about 35, 40 minutes, but it's before we go on. So we're interviewing the lead guitarist for John Mayer, who took a break from playing video games and relaxing, interviewing us, and we just laughed. And one of my co-hosts talked to him about the video games, and success is great, but it doesn't matter whether you're Prince or Chris Jones or myself or you. We're just people. Just people. And those people, quite frankly, I don't envy them at all. I mean, I applaud their success. It's inspiring, but a lot of those people, they're you might as well, they're in a cage. They're in a cage, a prison, if you will, a success-induced prison, because no matter, think about it. Think about like people like Michael Jordan or Oprah or John Mayer or Yanni or whatever. You can't just go down to Walmart or to a Starbucks without getting swamped.
Yeah. Sad, but it does come with a price. And I had those people out there who were Elvis followers. He had, if you ever read any stories about his life and his time with Priscilla, God, it must have been. It must have been horrible to live that kind of life. So I'm sure there were joys, and I'm sure he loved what he's doing and putting his music, but he was told what to do, and they try to control his music, and no matter when he went, people were there, and he was such a superstar that he couldn't live a normal life. So yeah, I get it.
Well, it depends on what you want. I mean, sometimes, it's like, like Adele. Adele is amazing. It didn't want fame. Just wanted to
no.
And then you got stories like, and we won't go into too great detail because it's a sad story, but someone like Britney Spears, who started out in the Mickey Mouse Club and got ungodly success, and her life is literally dictated. Everything she does and every breath of air she takes, food she eats, clothes she wears, everything is dictated, and she can't escape it. She has to go through the courts, into the courts of public opinion, to get out of it. And so it's like, just be careful what you wish for.
Amen. Yeah, I agree. Well, it's been a great chat. I really enjoyed interviewing you today, Ray. And I hope it's sometime in the future that we can get back together again, maybe in a year or so, and see where everybody is that have interviewed on the channel here. And do watch the Mature Musicians group for information that is going to be posted by the artists, and certainly by you. You've committed to that.
Absolutely.
So, we're going to try. I'm going to try to follow you guys for as long as I can, and try to keep up to date on some of the things that you're doing. And I'm sure we're all going to be in a whole different place 1 year from now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a great way to end it, because it's. I think you're putting it out, and I can hear it. You can hear it in your voice, not fear, just the reality. A lot of the right now the market is opened up for a lot of the independent artists, and they're going out like crazy, like you said.
Yes, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
But if you look at what the big artists are doing, they're not. They're giving it another year. So hey, we all want. Two things people are always wanting more of: money and time. Well, money is harder. You have to work for it. Do whatever. But you're given this gift of time. Take the chance to have some introspection. Look within. Any frustrations, they come from yourself. They're not from other people. Not how other people make you feel. It's from inside. And so, where we are now is where we're supposed to be in a year from now. I would love to enjoy.
I'm glad I don't have, thank you, and I will have you back. I'm glad we don't have crystal balls, because I think that would spoil it.
Yeah, well, if we had crystal balls, it's why a lot of people who win the lotto, their lives go to hell. Most of these stories are really sad, because it's that need and that desire to have something you don't have, more money, more time, whatever. It's that need that stokes that fire, that keeps you going. If it's all given to you, and you don't need to work for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the people I envy are the people who struggle and get there, because it paid off.
Absolutely. So, well, I hope you have the rest of your day. I'm sorry I had to take you away from your work to do this.
Oh.
I'm so glad you came.
No apologies necessary. I'll do it in a heartbeat. No problem. And I'll make sure that I put the link in Mature Musicians, and from the bottom of my heart, Joy, love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Don't let anything, don't let the lack of, and this is for you and for anybody out there who's listening to the mature musician. If you put out a new song and 6 people like it, be thankful. Be thankful. Because you never, for all the people who like it, share it, do whatever, that's just the people who are willing to engage. So many more people I've learned over the years as you that see what you're doing, you make a difference. And even if you make a difference in one person's life, that's important.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I agree, Raymond. So you have a good rest of your day. And for those people that have followed us today and watched, I hope you enjoyed it all. And do visit the site for more postings from good artists like Raymond Hayden. Okay. You have a good one. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Well, this is me signing out. Bye, guys.